In this tutorial, we are going to be looking at how to register a domain name. The domain name provider we recommend and which we are going to use is called Namecheap. To get to the Namecheap website, you can also use our link www.ngforfor.com/mob/namecheap. That's NAMECHEAP. Okay, this is Namecheap, one of the biggest domain name registrars in the world. They started with registration of domains, but they have moved into hosting. They have some cheap hosting plans which we are going to look at in another tutorial. For now, we'll just focus on domains. So if you check the menu at the top, you see various options: domains, hosting, apps, security. If you want to register a new domain, put your mouse over domain, you see registration, transfer, new TLDs, and other options. Click on registration. Another way to do this is you can just from the home page directly come here and type the domain that you want to register. You first need to search for the domain to see if it's available or not before you can register it. So click on domains and we clicked on registration, and it brings us the form to search for the domain that we want. So in here you type, we are going to register a domain name to be used as a website for selling resale rights books. So we're calling it resaledude.com. When you type that, click on search. So it comes up with various options, but first it will tell you if it's available or not. resaledude.com. So you can see here it says this domain is available. If it's not available, it tells you the same, and once it gives you the option to search again here. But since ours is available, we'll just go ahead and click this button to add it to our shopping cart. So you also see the price there. Once you add that to your shopping cart, you will now see on the right hand side where it gives you the details of your payment. The actual domain registration is there, and there's also a small fee called the ICANN fee. ICANN, ICANN, is the organization that handles everything about domain names globally. So they have a small fee which they charge for every domain that is registered, which is added to the normal fee from the registrant. Once you have that total and everything looks good, you click on view cart to take you to the place where you can proceed to your payment. Here you can select further options for your domain. Resale dude, if you want to register it for a period longer than a year, you click on this drop down and you select whichever one you want. If you want it to renew automatically, such that when it expires, instead of waiting for you to pay again, it just bills you based on the credit card or payment information stored on your account, you can click on auto renew. So we are going to click that. But if this is just a kind of experimental registration for you, you may not necessarily need to click auto renew, so that if after a year from today somehow you end up not using that domain again, it won't bill you again. But normally before it starts billing, you will get a series of email messages reminding you that the domain is about to expire. So if this is a domain you plan to use for a very long time, then it's sometimes a good idea to select auto renew. Once you do that, you come below WhoisGuard. WhoisGuard is a service that helps you to mask the registration details of your domain name, such that when anybody searches for it, they will not be able to see your registration information. It's kind of okay sometimes to prevent people trying to hijack your domain. There are various reasons why you may want to block your name from showing in the search engines, but if you want to take that option, you select this. We like doing that too, so we are going to select WhoisGuard, and again it's free for the first 1 year. So this is just a special offer from Namecheap. We are going to accept that offer. After the first 1 year, it's usually about less than $3 a year to renew. Premium DNS, no, we don't need that. So we have selected WhoisGuard and we have selected our domain registration for 1 year. The next thing is to move ahead by clicking on confirm order. If you have a promo code that can reduce your cost, you enter it there under promo code. Now before you go ahead to pay, you need to have an account. If you already have an account with Namecheap, you don't need to register a new one again, but if you don't, you need to create a new one. So we'll just quickly go ahead and create one now. Enter your username. Password, again, try to have a strong password. A strong password is a password that has both uppercase, that's capital letters, lowercase, small letters. It's longer than 8 characters, also has numbers. Such a password is usually difficult to hack. Confirm it. Then you enter your first name and your last name and your email address. You want to receive messages from Namecheap. You say sign me up for Namecheap's newsletter. We don't want to be bothered, so we uncheck it, and then click on create account and continue. It's also wise to go through their terms of service to know what they're offering you. Now we are presented with another form again. The information filled in this form is usually what is used to create the registration information for your domain. So since we are using WhoisGuard, we can put in any information here, even if it's our personal information, because the WhoisGuard will hide that information from the search engines. If you are registering on behalf of a company, you select that. If not, unselect it, enter your address. So we can leave line 2 blank. Enter your city, enter your state. For Nigerians, you can use 30001 as your zip code. That's the zip code for Edo State. Select your country, select the correct country. So you will notice that this process is similar with other ones that we've done before, including Google Host and the rest. It's basically the same thing for most registrars you come across. You have to fill forms like this. Enter your phone number. So we're going to take +234 for Nigeria. If you are entering your phone number with the country code like this, the country code is this +23 something that prefixes the number. If you are entering it like this and your number begins with 0, most times you don't need to include that 0, so you just delete it. If there's an extension for your phone, you enter it. If not, if you have a fax number, you enter it there. If not, skip it and come back. Enable 2-factor authentication. No, we can leave that for now and click on continue. Okay, here you are being asked to enter the exact information that you want to use for the contact details that will be assigned to your domain name. Now, for every domain name, there are different sets of contacts that you have. There's the registrant contact, there's administrative contact, there's technical contact, and there's billing contact. These are supposedly meant for various departments of maybe an organization. The registrant contact is usually the details of the actual owner of the domain name. The administrative contact, those are supposed to be the details of the person who is in charge of managing payments and so on. The technical contact is the person who has all the technical skills to manage the domain, and the billing contact is for the person who is paying for the domain. So you can use the same name for everything, which is the default account contact, or if you want to change any of them, you can click on this button and click on add new contact. So we are going to use the same name, so we'll leave everything like that. Since we are buying Whois card, it's asking us if we want to associate it, so we'll leave this selected as yes, we do. And if we want additional configuration settings, click on this. If we are going to host this somewhere else that is not Google Host, and we've already purchased the hosting and we want to host this domain, we'll need to enter the DNS information of the host. So while we are registering it now, we can go ahead and enter that information. We can also enter the same information after we've registered it. So at this moment, we don't really have the DNS for our host that we are going to use, so we'll leave that. But if we had it, we'll click here, custom DNS, and enter those DNS information right here. But since we don't, we are going to leave it blank for now and say use Namecheap basic DNS. So in this initial registration, Namecheap is going to use their DNS, and when we are through with this and we have the DNS information from our host, we can now come back here to change it. So once we've done all of those things, click on continue. This last point tells us to select the payment methods that we want to use. So if you are using a credit card, you select that. If you are using something else, maybe PayPal, you have to select this and enter the PayPal email. Or if you already have some money in your Namecheap account, you can select that and use that. Current balance 0, we don't have enough money. So in this example, we are going to be using our card payment. If you don't already have the card information on file, you say add new card. I enter the name on the front of your card, you enter your card number, that's the long number in front of your card, you enter your CVV and your expiration date. And if you want to use the same address that you entered initially when creating your account as your billing address, then you can leave this as it is. But if you wish to change to a different address, then you have to click on add new contact, and then you enter your first name. One thing you need to note is that the billing address on your card needs to match the billing address you are using here. So make sure that the address you are using is correct. That's why I'm adding a new contact, because the address I used to create the account is different from my billing address. So I'm just going to enter the correct address here. Okay, we can leave this as it is for the receipt details. And we've already selected renewal. So if you don't want it to auto renew, you need to uncheck it here. If you want it to auto renew, we select that as a confirmation. So it selected it. And if you want to always use this configuration every time you pay, you can say save this configuration above to my default payment settings, and then click on continue. Click on pay now and hope for the best. Okay, so it is checking your payment and trying to process your order. If your payment is successful, you see this screen thanking you for your order, and you also get messages in your email telling you that your registration was successful. First, let's look at our email. So I sent 2 messages from the email. The first one, welcome to Namecheap. The other one is a summary of the order that you made. So if we click on that, we'll see our invoice and all the information. Remember your login information, don't lose it, because that's what you need to log in. So since we've seen our messages, we know that our payment was successful. We can now go back to Namecheap and click on next. Okay, they want you to rate If you don't want to rate, I don't want to rate, click on X. So it goes. So this is another confirmation thanking you for your purchase. Now what next? You can now go ahead and go to your dashboard. From your dashboard you can see all your domains and manage all the things that you've paid for. So click on your account, the drop down, click on dashboard, and you can see everything that you have with them. If you want to see your domains, okay, these are the different. We only have one domain with them, only have one product. So if you have other products, you see all of them listed here, but we have only one. If you want to change the DNS server, for example, or other information, then from the dashboard, for the domain that you want to change, you click on manage. So here are the different options. If you want to stop the auto renewal, you can come here and click this button to stop it or to start it. Okay, I just clicked it off and put it back on. If you want to end your WhoisGuard protection, you turn off the button by clicking on this. Or if you want to extend the registration, you click on add years, and you'll be asked to pay. If you want extra features like premium DNS, click on buy now. But we are not going to use premium DNS for now. Go through all of this information have already been automatically configured, so you don't really need to change much here. And here you can see your actual contacts. So this is the information that is in the Whois records. And remember, we had WhoisGuard, so it is actually hiding all this information from the public. But if we didn't have WhoisGuard, then when people go to a Whois search, they will be able to see all this information. So in the event that you want to change any of them, you click on edit and you change it. We've not really hosted it on a host yet, so if we should type the name, we will see that it takes us to Namecheap, a page from Namecheap. So this page is called a packing page. It's just a general page. They're telling you that there's a domain there and it's registered, and it's actually registered at Namecheap, but there's no website associated with it. So it's just like a temporary page until you point it to a DNS server. So those are the basic options that you have here. We'll look at the next tab, products. Here we don't have any additional products, so we don't see anything there. And here, if you want to transfer the domain name to another registrar, which is a process we'll look at another time, you click on sharing and transfer. If you want to give access to another person to be able to log in here and administer your account, you enter the person's email address here and you click add. If you want to transfer the domain to another person, you have to enter the person's email here. If you want to transfer to another registrar, you need to first unlock the domain, and then you click on this and go through the rest of the process, which will not be covered in this lesson. The last tab there is for the DNS. So this is where you should be able to enter the DNS information from your host.